Hey everybody, welcome back to FSP Forex-Stock-Predictions. Hope you are all having a great day. I am the Vortex Trader, and today we are continuing with our video series on support and resistance. This will be video number 8 in the series. There will be a total of 9 videos, so there is one more left after this one. And guys, let me tell you, this will be the ultimate video series on support and resistance. If you watch these 9 videos, you will not have to watch any other videos on support and resistance. I have looked at every possible aspect of this subject, right? I have made it as simple and easy and effective to understand, right? This is a basic principle which can seem a little overwhelming at first, but once we have it ingrained in our minds, it becomes a whole bunch easier, right? And once we know exactly how to do this, this is the beginning of helping our trading out immensely. So, with that said, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get into the information for today. Today, we will be looking at 3 main things. The first one being how to actually draw support and resistance. How do we physically draw these zones on a chart? The second point being analysis paralysis. Sometimes we draw too many levels and we freak ourselves out, right? Then the third one being when in doubt and when we freaked out, zoom out. Draw the most apparent levels, right? Don't make things complicated for yourself by having a million lines of support and resistance on a chart, because that can be extremely overwhelming and is just not good for trading. We want to keep the charts clean and clear. Okay, so the first thing, how to draw support and resistance. And remember, like I've said in previous videos, this works across every market and every single time frame. So for today's example, we are working on the euro versus the USD on the daily chart. And let's just scroll backwards in time and see what we can see. Now, when we are looking to draw support and resistance, we are looking to see what levels price has been respecting. Where has price been bouncing off of? What highs has it been making and then retesting those same highs? What lows has price been making and then retesting these same lows, right? Once we see at least a minimum of 2 taps, we can safely say that this is a support zone or this is a resistance zone, right? So for example, what do we see up above right here? From this wick looking right. Well, we can take a little trend tool and we can draw a straight line across just like this. Okay, now it doesn't have to be a dashed line like this one, right? There is options on your brokers. I am using TradingView to make the line solid, all right? Now, this gives us a clear indication that we are indeed looking at a line of resistance. Price came up, bounced off of this line clearly, came back up again, retested this over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more days. Because remember, this is the daily chart, so every candle is another day before bouncing off of it and carrying on its journey south. So we can safely say, yes, this is a point of resistance. But now there are 2 ways to draw support and resistance. One is like this, where we take a line and we go to the ends of the extreme wicks, which could be even up here, right? Because this is the most highest extreme point where a price has reached before bouncing off of, right? And we can clearly see that this is a relevant point because we can bring this line back just like this. And we can see on the left-hand side, it even perfectly touched this line there before breaking through it a couple of times and then coming back and then perfectly touching it here again, right? So there is that way to draw it, right? We just take a line and we can reach the line, put it to the utmost extremities, right, of price. Look what happens when we bring it down. We can see this is support here, right? The wick clearly touched the support level, broke through it here, but is respecting this area. Now, why I don't like this line technique is because there are always extra candle bodies breaking through these areas. So what I like to use instead is a parallel channel tool, right? And this gives me a zone, which I much prefer, right? Because once I have my zone, I can see that within this zone is our resistance. Now it's clearer, right? Price comes up, retests into the zone, tests the zone once, comes back up and retests it a couple of times, right? So the resistance lies within this zone. Unfortunately, support and resistance is not as clear cut as one price. Boom. It can be, but most of the time it isn't. There will always be a zone with price piercing into. Okay, so let's carry on our journey left. Here is another one. Let's see. This is support. So we take our parallel channel tool and we go from the candle bodies. We just incorporate the extremities of price. And we can see that, there we go. Price hits this level 1 day, 2 days, comes back up, retests it perfectly with this wick into this zone, right? And guys, if we carry on scrolling, we can see this everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Here we go again. Here is resistance. We can see that we start the parallel tool channel at the ends of the candle bodies and we bring it up to the extremities of the wicks. And we can see clearly this is resistance. Price comes up into this point, comes back down. Comes back in, the wick goes into the zone, comes back down. Comes back in, the wicks go into the zone and comes back down. We can see it as same for support, right? We go from the candle bodies, right? Bring this down. You see, it's respecting this zone. So anywhere within this zone, price could bounce off of, right? And we see this everywhere. I'm going to keep scrolling left. Now, here is an example where we don't really have a zone, right? I still think we do, but we could say we could just take our trend tool and we could put the resistance right there. Just one line like this. It covers the extremities of the wicks. However, again, I don't like that. I would take the parallel channel and put the wicks into the channel like this, which makes it clearer for me to see, and there is my zone. Right? Guys, I hope this is making sense to you. Okay, so how do we do it? We literally take our parallel channel tool, right, which you can find on TradingView, okay, or whichever broker you are using or whichever platform you are using, and we highlight the area where we can see price has been respecting and bouncing off of. This would be support and resistance areas, right? Now remember, support and resistance doesn't have to be horizontal. We covered this in a previous video. It can also follow trend, right, like this. If we do this, we can see that this is clearly a resistance trend. Price wicking into the channel, coming down, wicking into the channel, coming down, wicking a couple of times into that channel, beautifully coming down, wicking up to the channel, coming down, wicking into the channel, coming down. Resistance, clear resistance. So whether flat or horizontal, we make a parallel channel zone and we cover all the extremities of the wicks. And this shows us clearly where our levels are. Okay, so that is part one. Now, part two is analysis paralysis, right? This is the daily time frame. But what would happen if I had to go on to the 15 minutes? Now, a lot of traders like to scalp, right? They like to scalp on the 1 minute, the 5 minute, right? They like to scalp on very short time frames. And when we're doing this, we are also plotting out support and resistance zones, right? So let's see what we can see. Let's see how we can make a good example. Right, here is a good example. Let's delete this for now. Okay, we have clearly, this is on the 15-minute time frame. We have support right here. Let's make our zone there. Okay, we have support right here. This one is clear. We don't even need a zone, but let's just cover it like this. Right, we have resistance right above it. I'm just showing you what analysis paralysis would mean. Okay, we extend that out. We can see that support, resistance, flip support. Let's get back in line there. Right. Okay, we have some more resistance above here. Right, wherever price is respecting, and bouncing off of, we can technically call support and resistance, right? We have more up here. Now, do you see that once I'm highlighting all these zones, right, it can get a little confusing. Eventually, we can say that every single level that we see price bouncing off of, we can call support or resistance, right? Because technically it is. If price reverses or respects a level, that's considered support or resistance, right? The thing is that if we have marked up too many levels, right, then while we're trying to trade, things can get pretty overwhelming, and we go into a state which is called analysis paralysis. We have too much going on inside the chart, right? We don't know what we are looking at. Okay, it can be like, oh, well, there's a support level there. Let me buy here. Oh, and now it's flipping into resistance. Oh, it's turning into support. And the shorter the time frame, the more these levels are going to appear. The higher the time frame, the less these levels will appear, which brings us to our third point. When in doubt, right, and when we're freaked out by all these levels, zoom out, right? Zoom out. If you're on the 15 minutes, zoom out to the 1 hour. Zoom out. Draw the most apparent levels only, right? Because look, here was our zones in that 15-minute time frame. If we delete them, right, we can, now this is on the hourly chart, and we can have analysis paralysis on this time frame too, but we can clearly see this a little bit easier just by following the trend, which was clearly following support. So instead of making a million levels for ourselves, we can draw the most apparent levels that we are seeing on a higher time frame. This makes things a lot clearer, right? So when in doubt, when you have too many things going on in your chart, zoom out. And trust me, it will be a lot easier for you guys. This is why when we zoom out to the daily time frame, now we can see our major levels, because if price is respecting a level on the daily time frame, then we know this is definitely a level that is respected in a major way, right? Price can respect a level on the 1 minute as well, right? But it's not going to be as respected as a level that is retested on the daily time frame, right? Which is why I'm saying that when in doubt, and you've heard it before, zoom out. This way we can make sure that we are highlighting levels that are the most important on a chart. Once we have identified the levels on a higher time frame, then we can delve deeper into the lower time frames, and when we see price approaching those same levels that we drew out for ourselves on the higher time frame, this could give us a little bit of confluence whether we should jump in and open a position or not. All right, so we adjust our levels depending the time frame that we're on, but we always zoom out to the higher time frames. We put our levels on these higher time frames. Then we can see clearly. We can see clearly, right? Then we can jump into the 1 minute, the 5 minutes, whatever we want, and we can see when price is approaching those levels that we drew for ourselves on the higher time frame. Then we know, okay, should we take action now or not? And guys, this is how we draw support and resistance. Okay, we focus on major levels on higher time frames. We don't freak ourselves out with analysis paralysis. By the way, analysis paralysis can work with indicators too, right? Like I said the other day, we could have a million indicators on the chart making things very, very messy and confusing, right? We could just have so much stuff happening that we don't know what is actually occurring, and it's just too much, right? I mean, for me, when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, what is going on? Even TradingView says more indicators, we got to upgrade, right? To have as more. So, but there's a lot of traders out there that do, right, end up putting so much onto a screen. And to me, this does not look clear. This is messy, 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 messy. So I like to remove all of this and keep things as neat as possible. Right, delete, delete, delete. All right. So guys, I hope this has made sense to you. If you have any questions about support and resistance and how to draw these levels, please post them below in the comment section and I will be sure to get back to you. And on that note, I'm going to wrap up this video. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe button on your way out, and I will be seeing you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. See you later.